So I'm here in Paris right now, and one thing that's very interesting is that there's three different syndromes that are associated with specific cities. And one's Jerusalem syndrome, which is the idea of having an intense religious experience in Jerusalem that a lot of tourists have there, where they feel they're God or they're a prophet or whatever. This one isn't really relevant to what I'm talking about here, though. So it's really the other two that I really want to talk about, which is the second is Florence syndrome, which is in Florence, Italy, where tourists become overwhelmed by the beauty of the art and the architecture, and they start fainting and having to go to the hospital, having dizzy spells, and losing consciousness because they're just too overwhelmed by the beauty. And the third is called Paris syndrome, which is here in Paris when tourists come here, and it's often specifically Japanese and Chinese tourists. They come here and they feel immensely disappointed that it doesn't live up to their expectations, and they really get angry about it and upset. And it's so common that this is actually called Paris syndrome. Now, to be honest, here in Paris, this is the second time I've been here. I'm not having Paris syndrome. I'm actually more having Florence syndrome, if anything, because a lot of this art and architecture is absolutely gorgeous and spectacular. And especially the Louvre, like the exterior of the Louvre, it's so beautiful. And I mean, it's overwhelming. So really, am I disappointed? No. I mean, I wasn't disappointed the first time I came here, and I'm not disappointed this time either in that sense. Now, here's the thing. Does Paris have problems? Yes. Statistically speaking, from the statistics I've seen, it has the worst per capita robbery rate of any city in the European Union. That's not good, obviously. And fairly high crime probably in general, although not murder rate. From what I've seen in statistics, the murder rate in Paris is actually lower than the murder rate in most large Canadian cities. I think it's significantly lower than the murder rate in Toronto. It's just that the robbery rate, from what I've seen, is 6 times higher than in Toronto, give or take. So yeah, it seems like in Paris, it's more an issue with like mugging, pickpocketing, stuff like that, as opposed to like homicide, which isn't as big. Unless, of course, you're counting the Bataclan attacks, in which case that would have boosted the homicide rate quite substantially for that specific year. But if they count it, sometimes they do count it, sometimes they don't. But yeah. But anyway, my point overall is that, like, okay, I see so many people in like right-wing circles constantly saying Paris is a shithole, and it's like, I feel like they're only focusing on the negative and not the positive. Like, does this city have crime issues? Yes. Does it have, frankly, like, issues with demographic replacement? Yes, it does. Like, it is an issue here. Like, la grande replacement is real. It's real, and it's happening before our eyes. It's obvious if you come here. But, like, nonetheless, I mean, this stuff is happening in Canadian cities, it's happening in American cities, it's happening not just in cities, it's happening in the suburbs, even in rural areas, not as much, but it's starting to. So it's like, it's not like this sort of thing is unique to Paris, and I feel like people come here and, you know, they bitch and complain that, like, oh, the city's a shithole, but it's like, I don't know. There's some litter. Is there litter and garbage? Yes. Is there fecal matter sometimes on the ground where it's maybe a dog or maybe a human's? Yes. I would guess probably dog in most of the cases I've seen so far, but I'm not 100% sure. I would say, to be honest, this is nowhere near the dirtiest city I've been to. The dirtiest city I've been to by far is Naples, and second would be Sao Paulo. Or actually maybe Managua, because I've been there also, Managua, Nicaragua. But if a city in a first world country, no, I'd say Naples is the dirtiest, and second dirtiest might be either Genoa or San Francisco. But Naples would be by far the dirtiest I've been to in a first world country. Paris wouldn't even be in the top 5. I mean, there's some filth, there's definitely some litter, but is the city like, are you filming me? Are you filming me? Okay, sorry, I was just being paranoid that this like boomer lady was filming me, but she wasn't. Yeah. Gotta be careful, you know? Like doing the shit in public spaces, gotta be a bit careful sometimes. Yeah, anyway, my point is, okay, from what I've seen so far, the city's crime problems seem to be more centered in the outlying areas and not the tourist areas. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of like petty stuff in the tourist areas, like pickpocketing and things of that nature. But the areas that give off more of like a hood vibe are outside the old center, like outlying areas. Those are the areas where like you can see that the native French are definitely the minority, where they might be like 20-30% of the population or less, and where the majority are often people of either Middle Eastern, North African, or Sub-Saharan African backgrounds. And when I say Sub-Saharan, I'm including like Caribbean as well. So like basically people of those types of backgrounds tend to be the majority in many of the outlying regions of the city. Like the areas, I'd say, especially on the north side, that are outside of the main tourist historical center. But within the center itself, it feels kind of like, you know, a normal Western large city, you know, like in a Western country these days. I mean, in terms of like the demographics and such. Again, a lot of the demographics are tourists. Like majority of the people here probably are tourists in this area. But I'm just saying, like people when they call Paris a shithole, when they say like, oh, the it's a no-go zone, it's one giant no-go zone. It's like, okay, this city is full of tourists from all over. A lot of these tourists look very much like they're probably of upper middle class background, you know, like white from across North America or Europe, you know, maybe Australia, New Zealand. But yeah, I mean, honestly, this idea like Paris is like this total shithole. It's like there's still a lot of beautiful architecture here. I mean, it's not fucking Johannesburg, okay? Like, I mean, yeah, the city has crime problems, but I'm just saying, I feel like people in right-wing spheres might exaggerate how bad it is overall. Like, I mean, I'm sure some of these outlying regions in the northern suburbs are every bit as bad as people say. I don't know. I haven't spent much time in those areas. I don't really care to. But I'm just saying, I think some people do exaggerate, like, the issues in the city as a whole. Again, like, I mean, shit, maybe I shouldn't be, no, I think it's fine. But yeah, yeah, sorry, some cops just walked by, and I was thinking, like, this is technically, like, a federal building. I'm like, should I be filming this? But, they didn't seem to give a shit. I know in some countries in Europe, people get in a lot of shit for that, but I get the impression that usually if it's like a building with like historic architectural significance, they don't care that much. But I think there's technically a law in France about this, but yeah. So anyway, I think that's all I got to say about Paris for now. So honestly, I would recommend coming here. Like it's not as bad as a lot of right-wingers say.